Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of January 21st to the 27th for 2024. And we got 4 stories to cover this week, including, I want to give my thoughts and my take on Granblue Fantasy Relink. The demo is out. I believe it's for the PS5 and the PS4. I'm going to be basing it off of my time with the PS5 version. Rumors going around claiming there's a possibility that a new Star Fox game could be in the work. Unfortunately, we're hearing that a lot of developers are basically concerned about layoffs in 2024, and with some updates, including the big one from Microsoft and unfortunately other studios as well. And I also want to talk about the situation surrounding Palworld, or Palword, which has certainly exploded online, including on Xbox Game Pass, but there seems to be allegations that this is a Pokemon ripoff for some folks out there, and some legal experts have weighed in on the situation as well. And if you're interested in basically where I got the source of these information, though, links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. But before we get started, I do like to start off by talking about the quick My 2 Cents, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details. The first one is basically that Capcom has basically said to Ace Attorney fans, though, that they are not stopping with the franchise any soon. That is certainly nice, though. I think the Ace Attorney games can be fun, depending on if you're into this certain kind of genre or not. The game, I played the Ace Attorney games before. They're kind of like a point-and-click type of games, to be exact, though. And some folks may like that kind of style, some may not. It really comes down to what your preference and taste may be, though. But it's nice to hear that Capcom is not going to be abandoning the series or anything like that. We also learned that apparently someone may have spotted the possibility that a new Quake game could be in development. This was shown, supposedly it's been pointed out during the last week's Xbox Developer Direct, during which when Machine Gun Games were talking about their upcoming game, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, that some people have spotted something that looks like a Quake logo or something on there, to be exact. Now, it is worth pointing out nothing has been confirmed at this time or anything like that, but since we've seen revival of some of its or Bethesda's franchises like Doom and Doom Eternal and the Wolfenstein series, and we have seen ports of Quake games like Quake 1 and Quake 2 make their way, ranging from Game Pass to other systems, I wouldn't rule out the possibility that a new Quake game could be in development, nor will I rule out the possibility that Machine Gun Games could be working on another entry in the Quake series. But like anything, nothing is official at this time, so we'll have to wait and see, though. But I certainly wouldn't be against the idea of a new Quake game or anything like that. We also learned that the artists are celebrating the first anniversary of Fire Emblem Engage and everything like that. It's nice to see that game. I think did very well in 2023 and all. And I will say, from a visual standpoint, Fire Emblem Engage, in my view, is the best looking Fire Emblem game out there, though. And it's nice to see the series find sort of like its audience and everything like that, much like with Pikmin, especially with Pikmin 4 and how well that did in 2023 and all. So it's certainly nice to see this one is basically doing fine and everything. We also learned that CD Projekt Red is considering putting multiplayer in its sequel to Cyberpunk 2077. I will say I'm kind of mixed on this to a certain degree. I mean, I'm sure there are those who like the idea of a multiplayer thing, but I'm hoping this doesn't sacrifice, the single-player experience or anything like that. I think that's what's one of the enjoyments I like with Cyberpunk 2077, considering how better the game is now than compared to where it was when it originally launched 4 years ago and all. So it will be interesting to see if maybe there were ideas they had for this multiplayer when Cyberpunk 2077 was in development, but was scratched due to the whole fallout in terms of how 2077 launched and everything like that. So we'll see if anything comes out of that, if a multiplayer is going to be added into the sequel, or if it's going to be sort of like a separate type of a thing or something like that. We also learned that supposedly YouTuber Super Metal Dave 64, if I'm saying the name correctly, basically has discovered at least certainly some linking stuff on the development update of Metroid Prime 4. Now, That game has been in development for a long time. It was rebooted in 2019 with Retro Studios taking over and everything like that. And it's been radio silence since then, though. And we've seen snippets here and there and all that, but we don't know whether that game is coming to the Switch or the Switch successor. Some people speculate it could be a cross-gen title, and it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility when you look at games like Twilight Princess was a cross-gen title when that was released on the GameCube and the Wii, and Breath of the Wild was a cross-gen title when that was released on the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility, but again, we'll see if we hear anything about Metroid Prime 4, though. I'm hoping we'll hear something about that, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. We also learned that Nintendo is doing some job listings and possibly exploring the possibility of multimedia streaming services and everything like that. If this report is true, it does sound like Nintendo may be looking at the idea of bringing some streaming service over to their system. We know the Nintendo Switch has Hulu and Crunchyroll on there, but I believe that's basically it. There's no Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Paramount Plus or Disney Plus or anything like that, though. Perhaps maybe Nintendo's next system with the Switch successor or Switch 2, whatever it's going to be called, maybe that will have basically those streaming services come to those devices, though. I know some people may or may not agree with it or anything like that, but you know what? If that is like your main source where you use your device and everything like that, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing in any way. So, I mean, hey, I'm not against the idea if they want to have Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu or Crunchyroll on their next system or anything like that. I mean, hey, if you like the idea of watching it on the Switch screen or whatever Nintendo's next system is, and hey, there's nothing wrong with that. We also learned that Nintendo has announced a free broadcast of the Legend of Zelda Orchestra concert, though. This is certainly nice for those who like to listen to some of the music from the Legend of Zelda series, and there are certainly some classic music out there as well, so that's certainly nice. Plus, there's also rumors that one of the producers at Nintendo was spotted at Universal Studios hinting at the possibility of a Zelda theme as part of the maybe Super Nintendo World, which I wouldn't rule out that in any single way, though. And we also learned that supposedly a Lego Deku Tree set rumor has resurfaced online or everything like that. While nothing has been official yet, we've seen Nintendo team up with Legos before with several Nintendo themed projects, right, ranging from a NES to the Lego Super Mario set that we have seen. So this would not even surprise me whatsoever. Whether this sees the light of day or not, that remains to be seen, so we'll have to wait and see. But given the fact that we see Mario make its way onto the Lego set, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something with Zelda, indeed. Same with Donkey Kong as well. And in the movie and TV show part of our my 2 cents, we've learned that basically one of the actors from the Star Wars series, let's just say the person who plays young Anakin, I think is Hayden Christensen, if I'm saying his name correctly. It is rumored to be that he will play Shadow in the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie, though. Now, we haven't seen a trailer or anything like that, so we don't know if anything is confirmed at this time, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we know Shadow is going to play a part in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, especially for those who saw the ending to Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and also we'll have to wait and see if this one turns out to be true. We also learned that basically the Netflix. We also learned that one of the villains who played Bullseye, Bullseye, if I'm saying his name correctly, though, apologize if I'm not. In the Netflix's Daredevil series is going to be reported in the upcoming Daredevil Born Again, which is certainly not a bad thing considering that it seems that Disney is making the Netflix. The MCU Netflix now officially canon and making it part of the MCU and all. I think that's a good thing. I think that's really neat that they are doing that, though. No word about, if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would be or not. I think it should be, but that's my take on the matter, though. But still, very nice indeed on that one. We also learned that apparently Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium has been nominated for the Razzle Awards, though. Obviously not the award that any studio basically wants, though. Personally, I thought Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium, I thought it was the best of the Ant-Man movies, to be exact. Though I enjoyed it, though I know some people will disagree with me on that one, but I still enjoyed that movie nevertheless. So that's certainly my take on that. We also learned that supposedly there is reports that a new Jurassic World movie is in development, and it has the writer who helped write the script, I believe, for the original Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park: The Lost World and everything. So far, no word of any casting at this time, but it has been reported that none of the cast members from the Jurassic World franchise or the original Jurassic Park will be making a comeback in this movie, so it seems to be as a brand new entry. No word on where it's going to take place or anything like that, but given how Jurassic World Domination ends, and given the upcoming Netflix's Jurassic World series, which is basically the sequel to I think Camp, I forgot the name, it's something Camp Creation or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a continuation of how the world is with dinosaurs and humans trying to coexist to a certain degree and everything like that. And last but not least, the Hollywood Reporter has pointed out what movies have been nominated for the Oscars and everything. And right now we know that Oppenheimer has been nominated, I believe, for Best Picture, and even the Barbie movie has received nominations and everything like that, though. I'm hoping Oppenheimer takes home the Best Picture, though. I really enjoyed that movie, especially someone who likes to study, World War II and everything like that. So I'm hoping that one takes home Best Picture and all. But we'll have to wait and see what wins at the Oscars and what doesn't and all. Okay, and with the quick My 2 cent part now done, along with the movie and TV show part done as well, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with the game Palworld, if I'm saying the name correctly. Now, this was an interesting game that was recently revealed and all. It basically came out on Steam and on Xbox, courtesy also on Xbox Game Pass and all. And since then, this game really has kind of blown up online and all, with getting some pretty good reviews on Steam. I think it was mostly positive last time I checked, and it seems to have done very well on the Xbox and all, although on the multiplayer side, there seems to be some difference in terms of how many in multiplayer in terms on the PC side compared to the Xbox side. But in either case, though, the game has been doing very well. However, there has been some controversy surrounding this game, and there's been some talks about it ranging from plagiarism, as it's basically an outright copy of Pokemon, to even some allegations pointing towards it being like an asset flip, although I'm not 100% sure I would consider this an asset flip, to even people wondering if Nintendo will respond in any way or anything like that. Although last time I checked, it seemed that the only thing Nintendo and the Pokemon Company has done so far has mostly responded to modders putting like Ash and Pikachu in Palworld, and I think that they have asked those folks to take those videos down and everything like that. But apparently it seems that there has been some allegations of plagiarism, and the developers have also received unnecessary death threats and everything like that, and several legal people have weighed in on the matter to a certain degree. In an article from Video Game Chronicles, it points out that basically has responded to allegations of plagiarism, as accusations about as the game could have copied the Pokemon design, though. It's pointed out. Some people on Twitter has basically pointed out the difference and everything like this, though. On Monday, the CEO basically posted a response to the accusation saying, quote, While we don't deny any influence from Pokemon, he claims the game's artists have received online abuse and call for its stop. They mentioned that. There's been some allegations that AI has been used and everything like that. Some folks have basically pointed out the comparison and everything all. Now, there have been some response from game artists, though, basically pointing out that the game has been based on Pokemon assets. Two experienced AAA artists have spoke to Video Game Chronicles on this. One of them has said, quote, "You cannot in any way accidentally get the same proportion on multiple models from another game without ripping the model, or at the very least tracing the molecules first," one senior artist told VGC Anonymous, adding, "I would stand in court to testify as an expert on this." They explain, "To give you an idea of how impossible this is, sometimes we have to copy one MESH or MESH to another when we make a sequel to games, for example, redrawing an NPC from one game to another, and even when we rework those old models, they only sometimes match this closely due to the rigorous change that might need to happen. There have been times when dozens of artists are given the same concept art to create 3D models. For example, during art tests for jobs, I've seen 30 artists try to make the same horse using the exact schematic. None were as close as each other as these Palworld models are to the Pokemon models. None. The silhouette and proportions here are near perfect match." Another senior character artist in the game industry, agrees the model comparison could be compelling evidence of plagiarism. One of this person said, quote, "The wireframe MESHES looks different, so they're not the same model, but it's so close that they may have built over the top of the Pokemon models and made a few changes so they weren't exactly the same though." Supposedly, there have been basically some lawyers who have weighed in on this, though. One by the name of David Hansen, an intellectual property and digital media lawyer at Hansel Henson, told Video Games Chronicles that if it could be proven that elements of the 3D models were the same, then it would represent a smoking gun for any legal case brought forward by the Pokemon company. Quote, they're also saying it's down to Nintendo to absolutely prove copies, not mere taking influence, he told Video Games Chronicle. It's got to be obviously copying. You look at one picture and you look at the other alongside it, the industry will come to an end years ago if you weren't allowed to take influence. You can't have a monopoly on certain styles of artwork. It literally has to be copying. The Pokemon company will be looking for a smoking gun, and these 3D model videos could be gold dust for lawyers because they're not just exactly similar. From what those videos shows, it could be extremely compelling evidence of copying. If those original Pokemon models showed in those videos, then Nintendo should be home and dry in terms of demonstrating copying. That could be a smoking gun. However, Hogan's Law attorney Richard Hogan, who's known for the virtual legality, commented though, saying, quote, "I can't speak to the science used on this Twitter account, but certain evidence of actual assets being stolen is the kind of thing that is likely to make a more successful case. Simply being inspired by existing design, even if it goes so far to use certain design rules, proportion, colorization, curve usage, eye size, etc., is generally not." Now, the CEO of Pocket Pair that made this game has claimed that Palworld has cleared legal reviews and that there's been no action taken against by other companies. He said, quote, We make our games very serious, and we have absolutely no intention of infringing upon intellectual property of other companies." And in an update to this article, the Pokemon company has sort of responded to this though as well. They said, quote, "In a statement, the Pokemon company said it was investigating if the game infringed on the IP rights, saying, quote, "We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game release in January 2024, it says. We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measure to address any actions that infringe on the intellectual property rights related to Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nourish each and every Pokemon and its world and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future." So this is going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out and whether or not Nintendo does decide to take this company to court in terms of copying Pokemon or anything like that. But there are claims that saying that the game does borrow elements from other gameplays and everything like that. And if that's true, I don't think there's anything wrong if you're making a game that's drawing inspiration for something. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, there are plenty of games that draw inspiration from another series to another. I mean, look at the Outer Worlds. I do think that draws inspiration from Fallout to a certain degree. To even some could say Starfield does draw some elements or some inspiration, from the Outer Worlds to a certain extent. So I'm not a legal expert, and it does seem to be a very slippery slope on this, though. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Nintendo can provide actual proof that shows that this company literally stole art and all that stuff from, or using Pokemons, and it's not an original design or anything like that. So time will tell if Nintendo does something like this. We know Nintendo is well known for being extremely protective of their IPs. Sometimes I think they're in the right, sometimes I think they're in the wrong, to be exact. So it will be interesting to see what Nintendo does and the Pokemon Company. For now, like I said, the only thing I've seen so far is them filing cease and desist against videos that's showing mods of Ash and Pikachu in Palworld, but nothing really major at this time. So time will ultimately tell if Nintendo decides to truly take legal actions against this game, or if they choose to just let it slide and everything like that and figure it's not worth the time and effort. So we'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, Palworld seems to be doing very well and seems to be exploding online for the very moment, though. So overall, I would say I can see, I'm not a legal expert, I can see some comparison to Pokemon, but if the developers of this game can provide enough proof that it's still an original content and then still their original game, then I think Nintendo may have a harder time trying to say they just outright copied us and everything like that, though. As I said, though, there's nothing wrong if you want to draw inspiration from something like that to make your own game and all. But I do think I do feel this is kind of borderlining on it, but we'll wait to see if any legal maneuver truly happens or not. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with, unfortunately, starting off with 2024 isn't great, as we are seeing a lot of layoffs happen. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at, unfortunately, layoffs that we're going to be, unfortunately, could be seeing in the gaming industry in 2024. In 2023, a lot of it was that there were certainly, while there were certainly great games in 2023 and all, there were also plenty of layoffs, though. Some of the most high-profile ones we saw was with, Unity and that whole fiasco that played out with the whole changes that led to the CEO resigning and everything. Unfortunately, letting several employees go, to the whole situation with Embracer Group, which at first was buying all these studios, but ever since that so-called $2 billion deal fell apart, that ultimately had an impact on the studio, and they started to let people go left and right, ranging from shutting down Voltron to basically shutting down Free Radical that they just recently opened to try to bring back Time Splitter to, a lot. So yeah, a lot of people suffered in 2023 despite some successes with a lot of games. Recently with Embracer Group, Piranha Bytes seems to be in danger as well. Same with the League of Legends company, Riot Games. They've laid off 530 employees and everything like that. And recently we're starting to see with Microsoft as well. Recently a CDG survey recently came out, and it's pointed out that basically 1/3 of game developers are impacted by layoffs in 2023. That's 35%, while 22% is from the QA development teams are laid off, with only 2% being from the business and the financial side, though. About 7% spoke to GDC, saying that they were laid off themselves, with 17% about colleagues who they knew were laid off. They also pointed out that 56% of them expressed concerns over work could suffer layoff in 2024, while thirds say they weren't worried though. They also brought up with the AI, which points out that 84% are concerned about AI, with only 12% saying that they're not concerned at all. However, in the better news, they point out that in terms of for what GDC is saying that their studios have implemented accessibility options and measures in projects they're working on, with most common one being closed caption, colorblind modes, and control remapping. Support for unionization in the industry has also grown in 2023, with 57% of developers saying they support unionization. 5% of developers are already part of a union, so we expect those numbers to grow over the next year, hopefully. So some positive and some negative from this report, but I can understand why some people may be curious about, with the whole layoffs and everything like that. And recently, the most high profile one is Microsoft. Just recently has been announced that they have made cuts to some of their jobs, though. About 1,900 jobs across Xbox, Bethesda, and Activision Blizzard. They have made the decision to reduce some of the size of their gaming force. And some of it comes from Phil Spencer, who put out a report basically saying that they had to make the painful decision to reduce the size of our gaming workforce by approximately 1,900 roles out of the 22,000 people on our team. They're saying that, the PR is saying they're committed to navigating this process as thoughtfully as possible. And basically, they're and all that stuff. They're looking to grow their business and everything like that. So they also pointed out that several games like In Development Survival from Blizzard has been canceled, and the Blizzard president has quit and everything like that. And they are saying that Xbox is basically employing a more focused strategy in terms of after this merger and everything like that. This comes from a comment from Matt Booty and everything like that. So I can see why there are certainly some very big concerns, and there could be multiple reasons to look at this, though. Some of it is the cost of a lot of these games, and a lot of it has sort of, in a way, ballooned out of control, particularly with a lot of these AAA games and everything like that. So some of it is that, and then there are some that like to point to, like, some of these higher-ups tend to be somewhat greedy and everything, and which I don't disagree to a certain extent. That we have seen some CEOs sort of get a little bit greedy or play the video games cost a lot of money and everything like that to develop, which, while true, depending on the type of game you're developing, it does become very difficult to buy into that argument all the time when you hear about how some of these higher ups lay off these amount of employees and then give themselves a nice big fat bonus. And I don't think Microsoft is helping themselves with this, especially when it was announced that they have overtaken Apple and have made like $3 trillion, which maybe would have been great news had the report of them laying off like 1,900 employees wasn't there. I mean, yeah, it kind of gives that kind of impression, though. It's very unfortunate what happened to these employees, and I'm hoping they can find work soon, but it does seem to indicate that there needs to be some sort of change in the gaming industry in general, particularly with the cost of some of these games, that the amount of money being made to make some of these games. Something needs to change, at least in my view, on the AAA side of everything like that. So overall, I can understand why some developers are very concerned about 2024, though. I wouldn't be shocked to see more studios start laying off people and everything like that. It's going to be very unfortunate for some of these employees, and I'm hoping that they could find jobs and everything like that. But at the same time, I'm also encouraged on this report from GDC, though, about basically a push for more unionization in the gaming industry, which I think that's a good thing. I'm very glad that they are definitely pushing for more and more for unionization. And I hope those employees that got laid off at Microsoft, along with Bethesda and Activision Blizzard, I'm hoping they're able to get back on their feet and actually find jobs and everything like that. It's very unfortunate what they are going through and everything. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with reports coming out on the possibility that a Star Fox game could happen. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at basically a interesting Star Fox rumor that has started to pop up. Now, ever since Star Fox Zero came out in 2016, though, the series has pretty much remained dormant and all. It has reached its peak with the original Super NES release of Star Fox and Star Fox 64, but since then, I always felt like the series has seemed to have struggled to find its place, though. I mean, Star Fox Adventure originally started out, I think, as a different game from, I think, called Dinosaur Planet from Rare, if I remember the name correctly, though, and, well, I mean, it was alright, but not really anything special. Star Fox Assault from Bandai Namco, or at the time Namco, I mean, it was okay, but it was far from perfect, and some people didn't like a lot of the on-ground shooting area, as far as I remember. And Star Fox Command on the Nintendo DS, though, while it interesting, and while it definitely wasn't, I wouldn't say bad game, it was, the controls for it were kind of, there was a big learning curve, especially considering it used the Nintendo DS and you had to use the stylus to move the R-Wing and everything like that. So there were some folks didn't exactly like that approach and everything like that. And then, of course, they tried to sort of do like a reboot with Star Fox Zero, which, I mean, while it was great to see Platinum give a take on it, though, I think what really hurt that game a lot was the motion controls, or the forced motion controls on that game. It felt like it was like Nintendo was desperate to do something with the Wii U gamepad, since it was pretty clear the Wii U was not going to be the success Nintendo had hoped for, and it just felt like they had to do something with the Wii U gamepad. I think that did more harm than good to it. Since then, the series has sort of been reduced to basically, or the characters of Star Fox have been reduced to either making an appearance on the Super Smash Bros. Series, to even a guest appearance on Ubisoft's Starlink Battle for Atlas, which, I mean, I would say not a bad game from Ubisoft, though. There was some neat moments, but I think what ultimately hurt that game the most was the whole Toys for Life concept that Ubisoft was really trying to hammer down, and that really ultimately the game became a commercial flop for them, that they pretty much killed off any more Toys for Life for it and released whatever DLC was available and all. Although I will say that the game itself, I did feel like it kind of gave us an idea of what a Star Fox game could be like if Nintendo were to ever do another entry and everything like that. But recently, it seems to be that a leaker by the name of Zippo, who has made Nintendo leaks before and has been, let's just say he's gotten some things right, but has also been wrong before in the past. So I would say a grain of salt should be taken on this information and everything like that. He recently talked about updates ranging from Nintendo following some trademarks and everything like that with Star Fox, which, I mean, it could signal a new game coming in, but it could be just renewing a trademark, and we've seen Nintendo renew trademarks before, and not every doesn't automatically mean that something's happening and everything like that. Eternal Darkness is one example that we saw with that and everything like that. Well, recently he started to make the rounds again. He mentioned about all these trademarks and everything like that, but then he broke down a couple of things on it that has kind of caught some folks interesting, though. Here are some of the new details he points out. He's saying, quote, "It's actually being developed eternally. This is the first time Nintendo has taken the reins of development since 1997 Star Fox 64. It appears to be a sequel to a previous Star Fox game, not a reboot, though. I do wonder if that means referring to Star Fox Command, and if so, I'm curious to see if they're going to use any of the endings as being canon for the next entry in the Star Fox series. Online multiplayer will be a big part of the game's promotion. Will come to Nintendo's new console, though there is a chance that it could be a cross-gen release. I mean, again, that's not out of the realm of possibility. And finally, he says it's set to release within the next 12 months. Now, again, a grain of salt should be taken on this information and everything like that. We don't know if this is going to be accurate or not. That said, Nintendo has been known to keep a lot of things to their chest, and sometimes they surprise us with unexpected announcements we just didn't see coming or anything like that. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not out of the realm of possibility that they could be developing a brand new Star Fox game for the Nintendo Switch or the Switch successor, or actually being cross-gen and everything like that. The question is that if they are doing a new Star Fox game, are they going to learn from the mistakes they made with some of the past Star Fox games that they have done and everything like that? So we'll have to wait and see, though. I am still going to take this with a grain of salt for now, though, but I'm hoping we do get a new Star Fox game. I would like to see a new one happen. We've seen some series have done pretty well on the Switch and have been revived, unlike Luigi's Mansion we got a third entry, though. The Xenoblade Chronicles series really seen success with not only Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Still waiting for Xenoblade Chronicles X to make its way, though. I'm still waiting for that. To, I think, Fire Emblem, to even Pikmin as well, with Pikmin 4 and almost the entire Pikmin series going on the system and everything like that. So we'll have to wait and see, but I'm hoping this is true. I would definitely like to see Star Fox make a comeback and all. So overall, for now, it is a rumor. It is worth taking this with a grain of salt for the time being, and Zippo's track record can be a hit and miss, so I would be very careful with this. But given the fact that Nintendo has a history of keeping a lot of things to their chest, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this could be true and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part, and this one has to do with my take on Granblue Fantasy Relink, the demo. I tried out the PS5 demo and all, so we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, I want to give my take on the Granblue Fantasy Relink demo. I recently tried that out on the PS5. I believe there might be a demo for the PS4 version. I'm not 100% sure, but I did try it out on the PS5. Now, I didn't really know much about this game until I heard about who was behind it, and it was from, I think, Games or something like that. Again, I apologize if I'm not saying the name of the developers correctly, that they worked on a certain game. They collaborated with Nintendo. It was a mobile game, and recently they shut that down. I think it was called Dragon Lost or something like that. And so when I heard about this one, I was kind of curious because I've heard this was originally a mobile gacha game, and then I think they turned it into a fighting game. Well, recently this one they decided to do it in more like what seems to be more like a action RPG, to be exact though. And after spending some time with it, the game kind of feels kind of like something I would play from, Famicom's or Fountain's Ys or Y series, to be exact though, and I certainly don't think that is necessarily a bad thing though. The PS5 version did have several different ways to play it. I think the story, to some of the quests, to even the ability to play it either in, whether you want to prioritize resolution or frame rate. I opted to pick the frame rate one, where basically it ran at 60 frames per second though. Visually, the game looks definitely nice. It uses sort of like an anime style and everything like that, and some of the visuals don't look necessarily bad. I mean, it's not going to be like visual powerhouse like say like what Death Stranding is or anything like that, or Ghost of Tsushima, but it has sort of an anime art style to it, and it has some sort of unique look to it, to be exact. The other thing is the combat, and basically you control one character in this demo. I think his name was Gran, G-R-A-N, and basically it's sort of like a hack and slash RPG, or hack and slash action RPG. In this case, we're basically rescuing some folks or some villages from like goblins and everything like that. You also have basically what are these sort of link moves, where basically after you attack the enemy several times, you can could bring in other characters that could help you and everything like that. The other characters are controlled by the AI, so I didn't see anything where you can control these characters as well, but it certainly played very well for me and everything. Nevertheless, I did enjoy the action. I did enjoy it though. I am a fan of action RPG, so I definitely was enjoying what I was seeing so far. Though, basically, after you basically clear out the area and everything like that, though, a cutscene plays out, and then you go on to exploring the area or looking for, the next enemies to fight. There's certainly breakable items. Some of them will give you in-game currencies and everything like that. Although through the demo, I didn't see anything like that. Other things it does is there are certain items where you can try to create sort of like a treasure chest to basically, within a time limit, to basically discover like a treasure chest and everything like that though. And it certainly was sort of interesting. I mean, most of the stuff is stuff I've seen in other action RPGs and everything like that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's nothing original or anything like that. And for the most part, in terms of the performance, as I said, I picked performance mode, and the game pretty much ran at 60 frames per second. I didn't spot anything that showed the game slowing down or anything like that, despite the enemies being on the screen and all. So it seemed to be running perfectly fine on the PS5 though. Like I said, it's not going to break any new grounds or anything like that, but I still think it was fun though. I think the demo was pretty good, and I think action RPG fans will probably enjoy this though. Again, I do think it does remind me a bit more of the Yeast series though. I think Falcom's series to be exact. So if you enjoy that type of game, enjoy those type of action RPGs, and you'll probably enjoy Granblue Fantasy Relink. The demo's available out right now. If you're interested in any gameplay footage, link will be in the description if you want to check out me playing the game and everything. So overall, I would say I like what I see. It's definitely a smaller title, mostly a niche or a AA kind of experience though, but definitely not a bad title, and it's one I probably will be keeping an eye out when it comes out. I believe February 11th, which is almost around my birthday and all. Wow. But anyway, it's definitely one I will be keeping an eye out indeed. And if you're not sure about the game, again, there is a demo. Try it out and see if it's something that clicks with you or not. Okay, this concludes my my 2 cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the situation with Palworld and everything like that? Are you surprised to see this game blow up both on Steam and even on Xbox and all? Do you think Nintendo has any legal grounds whatsoever in terms of going after this company? Do you think they are within the right in terms of you feel like they actually did copy, Pokemon or everything like that? Or do you believe that Nintendo really has no solid ground along with the Pokemon company and all? What do you think about this report about, how game developers are very concerned about layoffs in 2024? Do you expect that we'll see a lot more layoffs in 2024 than we did in 2023? Do you expect to see more, like I said, more or less? And what's your reaction to what we're seeing with Microsoft right now? Do you think it was the right call for Microsoft to do this, or do you think it wasn't the right call for them to lay off over, I think, 1,900 employees and all? What do you think about this rumor about a Star Fox game and all? Do you think Zippo is right about this rumor at all? Or do you think this rumor is wrong? Do you think they should do another Star Fox game? And if so, do you think it should be a cross-gen title? Do you think it should only be on the Switch? Or do you think it's going to be on the Switch successor? And finally, what are your thoughts on my take on the Granblue Fantasy Relink PS5 demo? Is this a kind of game that interests you in any way, though? Have you tried the demo out? Did you like what was in that demo so far? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal, Me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a Good day then. Bye.